This week on Siskel&Ebert and the Movies, we'll look at movie trailers, the coming attractions you'll see in theaters this summer.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Do they sell the film? Do they make you want to go?
Why don't we take a 5-minute break?
Spaceballs. The movie. Eddie Murphy.
That's this week on Siskel and Ebert and the Movies.
Pray, it's not too late.
How the movies sell themselves.
This week on Siskel&Ebert and the Movies.
This week, Siskel and Ebert review Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello brought back to the beach by their teenage daughter. Kim Basinger and Jeff Bridges are a couple on the run in the comedy Nadine. And Patrick Swayze teaches Jennifer Grey about life, romance, and dirty dancing. It's all coming up next on Siskel and Ebert and the Movies.
Not everybody can do the twist, but everybody can do the sky. The new dance you can't resist.
Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello go back to the beach in a surprising comedy that was not quite what I was expecting. It's one of 4 new movies we'll review this week, and I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. And I was surprised, too, and I wonder if it's for the same reason. Between 1963 and 1965, Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello, a couple of squeaky clean, enormously popular young entertainers, made a half-dozen forgettable beach party movies. They were awful. Now they've made a 7th one, a new one called Back to the Beach, and it's a terrific comedy. That's why I was surprised. It's one of the funniest, most sweetly nostalgic films I've seen in quite a while. It's very clever, a self-mocking tribute to old-fashioned 50s and 60s values. They are just before the Cultural Revolution led by the Beatles. In Back to the Beach, Frankie and Annette play themselves, a clever gimmick, only 22 years older. They're married, living in Ohio now, with their wiseacre son Bobby, who is forever ribbing his mom and pop about their long-past stardom. Yes, Annette plays her picture-perfect, always cheerful self in a polka-dot outfit. Here her son complains that she's always serving him peanut butter, a cute dig at her decade of TV peanut butter commercials.
For me, I developed a serious identity crisis and was at the breaking point. I couldn't live like this anymore. One day I cracked. It was time to confront Mom with her problem. I'm afraid.
You're afraid of lunch? Poppy, no one's afraid of lunch.
I am, because I know exactly, unfailingly, and with an absolute certainty what's in there. It's been in there every day of my life. It's peanut butter, isn't it, Mom?
That kid is terrific. He's played by Damian Slade. As for Frankie, he's portrayed as vain about his looks, and he also thinks that surfers were more manly back in the old days.
Boy, back in my day, a surfboard was about 9 feet long, weighed about 50 pounds. Not like this sissy job. What?
The story has Frankie and Annette taking their first vacation in years back to their old stomping and surfing grounds, Malibu Beach, where they find their daughter is living with a surfer.
Sandy, if you've got a guy in there, I'm going to cut off his toes and sell him to the bait shop.
Listen, this is my house, too, and it will not be driven out.
Dad, why is it closing?
He's battering down the door with someone's head.
One of the great nostalgic moments in the film is when Frankie and Annette run into some old friends, including Connie Stevens, who still has the hots for Frankie.
20 years later, honey, you are still the best looking thing on this beach. Somebody get me a net!
Connie, you remember Annette, huh?
Well, I didn't mean that kind of Annette.
That is just great. The decision to have Frankie and Annette and their willingness to make fun of themselves and their squeaky clean images is just one of the reasons this film is a stunning surprise. It's wonderful. The script is smart. The direction by first-time director Lyndall Hobbs, a young Australian woman who just made music videos before this, is crisp. And the best decision of all, as I said, is that Frankie and Annette have the good sense to laugh at themselves and laugh at an innocent time that is a tremendous pleasure to revisit. I had a ball with Back to the Beach.
I had a great time, too. And not only with Frankie and Annette, who were terrific, and with that little kid who was, the 12-year-old punker with the leather suit on, but Connie Stevens, who looks terrific. And then, of course, there's this completely out of the blue, totally unbilled cameo performance by Pee Wee Herman, who comes flying into the picture, sings a great rock and roll song, and then disappears. And I was sitting in the theater frankly surprised, because I practically had to sign an oath in blood with Paramount Pictures before they'd let me, or for that matter you, look at this picture. They're so afraid of it, they don't want any critics to look at it. They don't want any reviews on either of the coasts, because they're afraid, on the sophisticated coast, people won't like this movie. They're crazy. This is the best movie they've had all summer. Practically.
I'll tell you this, it's certainly the best movie of its kind since Grease, and maybe it's better than Grease. I'd have to match it up. It is a wonderful film. I sat there flabbergasted. I thought the beach party movies, they were going to just do a retread. This movie had me howling.
It's an original film, and also it's an original musical. The musical numbers in this film, and there are a lot of them, by Frankie and Annette and Connie Stevens and Pee Wee Herman and the reggae band and everybody else. It's a great musical and a lot of fun.
We loved it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
thank you.
More than the film company.
Thank you for clarifying that interesting point. Next movie. Our next movie is named Nadine, which is the name of a feisty Texas beauty queen played by Kim Basinger. The movie's a comedy starring Basinger as a small-town sex bomb who allows a photographer to take some daring photographs of her, and she then wants to get him back. It sounds a little bit like the Vanessa Williams story. In the movie, Basinger is in the process of breaking up with her husband, played by Jeff Bridges. He wants a divorce, but she wants him to help steal back those photographs.
All right, what's the deal?
I'd just like you to run a little errand with me, that's all.
Of course, their whole plan goes completely wrong. First, they find the photographer's dead body. Then the police almost catch them at the scene of the crime.
Officer, am I glad to see you? There's a very suspicious-looking character running around out there. I was just on my way back in to tell my wife to call the police, and I must have got in the wrong place by mistake. Honey, don't do that. Now, why did you have to do something like that? I was doing just...
The plot thickens. It involves secret plans to make lots of money off of Texas highways, and Rip Torn does his usual expert job of playing a down-home sleazebag.
Let's just have a little talk here.
All right, boys. If I was you, I'd hit for high ground.
This is the kind of goofball comedy where they always put the love scenes in the most dangerous places.
Darling, if I don't make it...
God, don't talk like that.
But if anything should happen...
Please don't talk like that.
I love you. I always have, always will.
Damn it. If I'd known you was going to quit on me like this, I wouldn't have fell in love with you to start with.
Nadine has all of the ingredients for a great comedy, but it has one problem for any comedy, and that was I didn't laugh very much. It's hard to put my finger on just what went wrong, though. Jeff Bridges is one of the best comic actors among Hollywood leading men, and Kim Basinger does a good job here of creating a beautiful Texas goofball, and the movie was directed by Robert Benton, who made another Texas movie named Places in the Heart that a lot of people liked, but the whole movie seemed flat to me. One scene after another failed to find any kind of real comic energy, and finally, it was just a case of everybody marching through a complicated plot. Now, it's a funny thing about comedy, and this is not going to be a real brilliant statement, Gene, but if you don't laugh, you don't laugh.
Well, and I didn't laugh. I was bored silly by it, and these are a couple of my favorite actors, particularly Bridges, who I think is just far underrated, and I think he's a tremendous talent. But I found them bored. They seemed to be bored by the complicated plot that spun them through. The most refreshing presence was Rip Torn, who came in there and had some joy. I didn't believe the love story, not for a minute. Her final speech there at the end is as phony, as written phony. The script is wrong. She wouldn't talk that way if she's a Texas goofball. That's a speech that's concocted for some kind of script. I didn't buy them in characters at all. I fault them. I fault the script.
It was a big disappointment. Coming up next, Dirty Dancing, the story of how the help helps themselves to some of the guests at a summer resort.
I wanna know if you'll be my girl.
Our next film is called Dirty Dancing, a provocative title for a film that only occasionally lives up to that billing. It's set in a Jewish summer resort in upstate New York, and in one scene, the young daughter of one of the guests stumbles upon the help doing some sexy dancing to let off steam. That's hot, but the movie has been cut from R to PG-13, so it doesn't get much hotter. Telling the story of how that innocent girl, nicknamed Baby, falls in love with the lead dance instructor.
Where'd you learn to be a dancer?
Well, this guy came into this luncheonette one day, and, we were all sitting around doing nothing. And he said that Arthur Murray was giving a test for instructors. So, if you pass, they teach you all these different kinds of dances, show you how to break them down.
He, of course, is working class. Her parents would rather see her get involved with the grandson of the owner of the resort. The dancing in the film is exciting, and even though the story is predictable, will they or won't they get together, I was held captive by the personal magnetism of that young actress, Jennifer Grey, who is so very good as Baby. She also played Matthew Broderick's sister in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I did enjoy watching her grow up, and I think that's what actually happens in the film that makes it so good. We do see a character grow up, and it's on the basis of the dancing and of her performance that I give the film a marginal recommendation.
Well, I know what you're talking about, and the dancing is good. All of the best dancing in the movie is between Patrick Swayze, who is that young man, and his professional dance partner.
They're great.
They're great. It was predictable, Gene. Come on. And not only was it predictable, but also the whole subplot. There's a subplot involving an abortion, and the young girl's father thinks that the wrong person is the father of the baby.
Not brilliant.
And it's not just not brilliant, it's the idiot plot, what I've always talked about, where one word from any one of three different people in this movie could have collapsed the entire plot, because then the father wouldn't have thought that, and then everything would have been different, and so they all have to be very careful not to say that one word.
In most movies that have idiot plots, you do not have performances this good. I think you'll agree with that, right? And I think the other thing is that you will not see a character grow up. And I'm telling you that this young actress is given a good...
She doesn't grow up. She just moves right along according to the requirements of this pre-canned plot.
She comes to that camp naive, and she grows up at the end of the film.
And that's
a
cliche, Gene. That's a cliche.
Not the way she plays it. Not the way she plays it.
It's just all by the numbers.
Not the way she plays it.
All by the numbers. The dancing is good. The plot...
She's good. Tell me she's not good.
She's okay.
I think more than okay. Coming up next, Rita Sue and Bob 2, a love triangle from England.
He's the sort of fella I could live with, as long as he weren't doing with me what he's doing with his wife.
Fresh scent Clorox, I say, fresh scent Clorox. Fresh scent Clorox bleach, goodness, it smells so good.
Fresh scent, another great Clorox bleach.
Goodness, it smells so good.
Scrubbing mildew stains is a monstrous job, so instead, spray on Tilex. With Tilex Instant Mildew Stain Remover, mildew stains vanish with no scrubbing. Tilex, it makes a monstrous job easy.
Our next movie is named Rita Sue and Bob 2, and the title pretty well sums up the plot. This is the kind of movie that sounds more sordid than it is, I guess. The story of two teenage babysitters in a British slum who both have an affair with the same married man. But even to describe it that way gives the wrong idea about this movie, which is not really about sex at all, but about boredom, poverty, and desperation. The movie has wonderful performances by Siobhan Finneran and Michelle Holmes as two best friends who never stop giggling and who go everywhere together at a fast clip. They get jobs as babysitters for a nearby couple that seems unhappily married.
Can you babysit for us a week on Wednesday? Yeah. What time? Well, we'll be going out between 7:30 and 8, so if you could come over between 7 and 7:30. It's our Julie's engagement party. Oh. Was she here first time we babysat? That was Angela. Is she married? She was. She got divorced about a year or so ago. 2 of my brothers are also divorced.
So there's 3 divorced in the same family?
There might be 4 yet.
Bob takes the girls home one night and makes a proposition which they quickly accept, and for a while, the 3 carry on a secret affair, meeting in Bob's car or in the nearby countryside. But the secret gets out when Michelle, Bob's wife, finds evidence that he's been cheating on her.
I'm blaming you for this.
Blaming me? What for?
Well, me having to go and ask for sex off other people because get any off you.
Don't tell lies.
Okay, I try. When we have sex, it feels like shagging a bag of spuds. You just lay there like a bit of wet rag. You didn't used to be like that.
What do you expect?
I want us to enjoy it.
Now, if this were a film, it would be an R-rated sex romp, and it would probably seem pretty dirty. But Rita, Sue, and Bob 2 is another one of those recent small-scale British films that's much more interested in human nature than in selling lots of tickets with lots of sex. This is a movie about 2 tough, hard-as-nails, deprived girls from the worst part of town and an irresponsible, feather-brained adult who thinks he's taking advantage of them when, in fact, they're probably a lot more worldly and cynical than he is. And yet, these aren't bad girls. They are totally without standards because, after all, they haven't been taught any standards. We see the terrible conditions that they live in with drunken father and motorcycle gangs in the front yard and so forth. But they have a sense of humor. They have high spirits. They love life. And this is one of those movies that you actually talk about a lot afterwards because the motives of all the characters are so complicated. Finding good and evil in this film is real tough to do.
Well, I'll tell you, it does spin you around a lot because in the beginning of the film, there's a lot of emphasis on sex, and it's quite explicit, and this guy is taking advantage of teenagers. I believe he is taking advantage of them in the beginning because they are virgins before. I think it's made very clear that they don't know about sex. And you see this and you say, wait a minute, and then it keeps going on and on and on. Then something happens, which is, I think I'm not giving away too much. Bob does something with one girl that he doesn't do with another girl. And now the relationships get interesting. And that's when I found the film interesting. But for a long time, I found it repellent. I'm not totally accepting this film. I'm not going to give it a thumbs up. I'm going to say it's interesting. And the thing that makes me turn my thumb down, the last shot in the movie, which is totally inconsistent with the rest of the film, which is human, and the last shot is a phony gimmick.
The last shot is totally gratuitous. I hated the last shot. Now, I'm going to give this film a recommendation, but I'll say this. The reason that I liked it was because it was a living film. It was about complicated people in a very complicated situation.
The girls are lively.
But it's not a simple film, and it's real tough to figure out. In fact, it challenges you to decide what you think about it, but I found it very interesting.
Isn't it amazing how that last shot I could have punched? I said this last week. I mean, they tossed away the movie for me with that last shot.
Complete cop-out.
Coming up next, our home video segment featuring films with a bitter father and a cagey detective.
Now, just a second. Wait, how many people are you going to shoot? Hold on a second.
Hello, I'm Orville Redenbacher with a very important message. My new improved microwave popping corn is the best popping popcorn there is. Pops great in all microwave ovens. Nobody has fewer unpopped kernels. And I give you lots more popped corn, up to 10 cups more per box than the other guys, which is good. Because once you start eating it, you won't want to stop.
Orville Redenbacher. Fewer unpopped kernels for more popped corn.
Now it's time for our weekly home video segment, new worthwhile releases on my 57 comedy thriller, The Late Show. We knocked him when he did Nadine this week, but in 1977 he was awfully good with The Late Show, and that was before he directed Kramer versus Kramer, another terrific film. This is far lesser known film than Kramer versus Kramer, a delicious caper with Lily Tomlin playing a woman who hires a seemingly over-the-hill detective played by Art Carney. He has a paunch, he wears a hearing aid, but he can still swing an axe early in the film.
getting away. Don't let him get away.
Take
Do
it easy.
something.
Just take it easy.
Go get
Are
him.
you crazy?
Plug the bastard. Damn it, kill him. You could get him.
I could get a heart attack. That's what I could get.
The film is full of fine character actors, including Bill Macy as a scroungy bartender and informant.
Well, the word is he's got dolly trouble. Any dolly in particular? His wife. She was chipping around on him. What? Jesus, kid, all I had was a couple of hours.
Carney and Tomlin have never been better on film. Even though Carney won an Oscar earlier for Harry and Tonto, I think he deserved one for this film, too. He's an enormously underrated actor, just great in The Late Show.
What puzzled me at the time, and it still puzzles me 10 years later, is how little attention this movie received.
Yes.
Except from the people who saw it, who all loved it, you know. And Tomlin and Carney, you're right, they're so terrific. And that's one good thing about video is that people
I was just going to say the
right?
same thing. Thank God now for video and see The Late Show.
Okay, my video choice this week is named The Good Father, and it stars one of the best actors, Anthony, as a divorced man who's absolutely seething with anger because his wife has won the custody of their son. He gets to spend Saturdays with the kid, but the rest of the week he blames the courts for taking away what he sees as the rights of fathers. One day he meets another father in the same boat. The man's about to lose custody, and Hopkins advises him to fight.
You seem very calm. I'd be bloody furious if that had happened to me.
Eventually, this becomes more Hopkins's fight than the man he's supporting, and it's more than a fight, it's an obsession.
I therefore see no reason to vary my earlier order giving interim custody, care, and control of the trial to Mr. Miles.
Now, in a conventional movie, that courtroom battle will be the end of the movie, but The Good Father is much too thoughtful to use a cop-out like that. Instead, we see what happens afterwards, after the dust settles and the battle is over, and this divorced father is still left to deal somehow with his anger and his loneliness. This is a movie that takes a very complicated character, and it really gets inside of him. It's a strong performance by Anthony Hopkins in a real good movie.
I measure this. People ask me what makes a good movie, and I say I like movies that push the emotional envelope, if you will. I mean, that really goes extreme instead of that narrow range, the TV. Yeah. Well, this is a movie where somebody really gets angry in a situation where people really do get angry, and it's real.
And it's not just a docudrama sort of thing in which we have the problem of fathers who have lost their children. It's about the fact that this guy is flawed. He's got problems. In addition to the problem that he complains about, he's got problems of his own, and the movie deals with all of those problems.
It's well done. Now let's recap our reactions to the movies on this show. Both Roger and I were caught totally by surprise, pleasant surprise, by the very funny Back to the Beach. We liked it more than the studio that made it. 2 thumbs up. We both disliked Nadine with Jeff Bridges and Kim Basinger. Disappointing. 2 thumbs down. We split on Dancing, the resort romance. Roger found it predictable. I really liked Jennifer Grey. 1 thumb up, 1 down. And a split on Rita Sue and Bob 2. Roger admired the energy of the characters. I think the movie took too long to make its point. 1 thumb up, 1 down. So really, out of complete surprise, from the back in the pack is this amazing Back to the Beach.
And you know what the funny thing is? A lot of people will not go to see it because they think they know what they're going to get. Oh, Frankie and Annette, and now they're 20 years older. I don't want to see that. They'd be amazed if they saw this film. It's got as much energy as an original musical as you can imagine. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with a special show on the coming attractions, the trailers they use to advertise new movies. Now, we're going to look at the ads for some of this summer's biggest films, and then we're going to add a postscript of what we thought of the ads after we saw the movies. That's next week, and until then,